Good evening. I'm Dr. Fred Rouse, the Real Money Doctor, and it's currently Wednesday, May 20th. And just a couple minutes, actually, we're running just a little bit late. We're about 4 or 5 minutes after 7 o'clock. And I want to touch base on today's events that affect the way you get, protect, and enjoy your money, your life, and your retirement. Now, the thought for today is reopening, partially. I'll get to that in just a few minutes. But we start every day with just keeping track of the current numbers as to what's actually going on with the COVID cases. Right now, as of today, there's 1,548,000 cases that have been confirmed right now. That's close to 25,000 new cases since yesterday. Deaths right now are at 93,163, and that's just in 11 weeks. So that means close to 1,600 more people died just overnight. Now, since I spoke with you on the other day, we've had 294,000 people that actually recovered. That's 11,000 more overnight, which is really a good thing. You don't see that number going up, but that's the first time that numbers went up substantially overnight. Again, 11,000 people have actually recovered from COVID. New York State still leads the country right now with 354,000 cases. That's 1,500 more cases since yesterday. Their death rate right now, their deaths are at 28,636. That's 78 people died in New York State overnight. Now, New Jersey still has the second highest number of cases being diagnosed right now, being confirmed. That's 150,776,000 cases right now. And that's another 1,400 since yesterday. Deaths in New Jersey total right now are 10,749. That's another 310 people that died in New Jersey overnight. Now, the other states that round this out are, Illinois has a number 2 spot. Okay, Massachusetts is 4th. California, comes in 5th. Pennsylvania at 6th. Michigan is at number 7 right now. Texas at number 8. And Florida is number 9. And again, Maryland rounds out the top 10 as a number of the 10 highest number of confirmed cases consistently. So those are the top 10. Now, the rates are down in New York a lot. This is the first time since I've been discussing this with you folks that they've had a death number overnight of less than 100. So that's pretty impressive if you can be impressed with 78 people dying overnight. But that's pretty good news for that state. They're doing a lot. Again, they've had a lot of people in that state. It's a strange state in that state, comprising primarily of New York City itself, has such a vast divergent groups of people in that city. It's absolutely amazing, and in a very, very dense area. So I'm glad that their numbers are a little bit better. Right now, though, and that brings me to the point that, a lot of cases, they're dropping in the coast, East Coast and West Coast. Again, they got hit first. The number of cases in those states are dropping. However, the cases in the middle of the country keep going up. And again, I wanted to bring in today's thought, which is, reopening partially. The reason I say is that all 50 states right now have partially emerged from the coronavirus lockdown. Only a handful of states have shown significant improvements in the infection rates, and some experts caution it could be too soon. Well, Wednesday, Connecticut became the final state to begin lifting restrictions, allowing retail shops and restaurants to reopen their doors. Now, despite the reopening milestone, health officials say Americans still remain at risk of catching this highly transmissible and sometimes deadly virus. As of Tuesday, at least 17 states have registered an upward trend okay, in the average of daily cases, a rise of at least 10% over the previous 7 days, according to Johns Hopkins University. They've been collecting the data since this got started, and that's the go-to place for legitimate data, as much as you can get from the states anyway. But they've been coordinating all that data, and they have a good handle on what's going on. Only 16 states have dropped, okay, more than 10%, while the rest were near level, according to the data. Now, the CDC shows that, they released a 60-page detailed guidance on Tuesday. Okay, this was one that got watered down initially because the White House doesn't like what was going on, but they released the detailed version of that today for some reason, or yesterday or Tuesday actually, and it's a really detailed roadmap for schools, restaurants, transit facilities, and childcare facilities. Okay, and in the guidance, okay, and this is nothing new. They've said this. The president even announced this when he was having his coronavirus task force meetings. Okay, he announced it in one of the meetings that a state should see a downward trajectory in cases for over 14 days. Okay, before they considered phased reopening. Okay, it was in a report that the CDC just released on Tuesday, but it was also in the report that they released a week ago, and also the president from the podium with the doctors by his side almost 2 weeks ago said that, oh yeah, for the states to reopen, they should have a phased reopening after they have 14 days and they show a downward trajectory in the cases. Now, it's really interesting to note that not one of the states that are reopening has met that goal. Now, the CDC posted guidelines as news emerged that at least 2 states, Florida and Georgia, are under scrutiny for the way they're reporting their COVID cases. Now, again, with so many, there is no national response. Without a coordinated national response, you've got 50 states all reporting numbers. And so you get 50 different possible ways that, people are counting and reporting these things. Now, some states have without a doubt been cooking the books. Okay, while others, it's just an honest difference in the methods that they're using to report. Now, across the United States, more than 1.5 million people have already tested positive for a virus, okay, and at least, again, 92,000 deaths so far, according to Johns Hopkins. The only thing that was keeping this very contagious virus in check was that each of us was keeping that physical distancing, according to former Baltimore Health Commissioner, Dr. Leanna Wen. Okay, and she said that Tuesday, if you're going to let people go back to work and reopen, okay, we're going to have to be introducing some risk of some kind. The key is, what steps can we take to reduce the risk as much as possible? Okay, now that's what she said. It's the health commissioner from the city of Baltimore. Okay, so again, they've got some idea what's going on, and you just can't open things up. And you see the news reports right now. You're seeing video of people in bars and things, and it's asking for trouble. You can't pack these people in these facilities like this anymore. Okay, things have changed. Now, the states have moved at different paces, and some governors trying to balance the reopening with the economies and trying to keep the residents safe. And it's a very, very difficult task. Okay, some states, including Georgia and Texas, rolled out very, very aggressive reopening plans, while others have taken a much more measured approach. New York, California, Pennsylvania are among the states that are allowing some locales that actually reporting declines in new cases to reopen, as others still remain closed. Many cities, okay, remain under stay-at-home lockdown orders. Okay, in Baltimore, gatherings of more than 10 people are still prohibited, and retail stores remain closed. New York City officials report that some positive indicators throughout the number of people admitted to the hospital with suspected COVID have ticked up slightly from Monday. Okay, it's a good day when we have, great days though. Okay, and they're all looking to those numbers every day. And when you get a lower number of confirmed cases, that's a big plus. When you get a lower number of people being admitted to ICUs, that's a real big plus. And when you get a lower number of people that are actually dying from this, that's what people are looking for at this point in time. And most people are really thrilled with that. Now, de Blasio said that sharing the positive news that the city had enough PPE equipment to last at least through May, and will begin working on building a surplus of PPE and ventilators. Now, last month, the White House issued guidelines to help states plan for the reopening, but the measures were not mandatory, and the governors were, again, left on their own to make their own decisions. Experts have warned that lifting these restrictions prematurely can mean thousands more additional Americans will actually die in a second spike in cases. And the responsibility still is pretty much with the individuals to adhere to guidelines and practice safe social distancing and adopt habits, whatever they might be, okay, to protect themselves and their loved ones. For most people, that's still wearing a mask, okay, and there's still an uproar about that in both ways. However, okay, public health officials are still cautioning against crowded indoor activities as churches across the United States are pushing to reopen their doors. Now, in North Carolina, after a federal judge struck down an order from the governor disallowing indoor services, some churches welcomed the congregations back. About 100 people walked into Raleigh Church this week, according to a local CNN affiliate. Now, in Northern California, a pastor defied the county orders and held a live stream, okay, after he was diagnosed with a virus. And again, he defied the orders. He had his congregation in there, okay, and then what happened? Surprised. He got sick, and at least 3 more cases have been linked to that event when he went live and had everybody in the same building with him. Okay, that was in Mendocino County in California. In Mississippi, service has been discouraged, but the governor's deems places of worship still essential services. So he didn't shut them down, but he preferred you didn't go down there. Okay. And I said, I personally didn't ask pastors to pause in-person services so that they could keep their flock safe. I want to help those pastors stay safe and resume in-person services. That was Governor Tate. He said that on Facebook. And so it's officially begun. All 50 states, in some way, shape, or form, continue to open. Okay. There will be more deaths. Yes. We can continue to keep this shut down indefinitely. Okay, probably not. Okay, however, even with all the new cases reported each day, okay, and the ever number of growing people that continue to die, okay, from COVID each day, there's still a number and a group of people that we tend to overlook, okay, in all of this. Okay, it's the 294,000 people that have actually recovered to date. And we don't talk about them. And I wanted to mention those today. And that's the other thing I wanted to talk about tonight. Now, on the day Elizabeth Martucci and her 11-year-old son were deemed to have recovered from COVID, okay, they emerged from their home in South Jersey, okay, and got some chalk and went out on the sidewalk and wrote the message on the driveway, "We are COVID survivors." They were very thrilled, okay. I thought I was going to tell everybody, and I had this thought, and it'd be okay to show people, and it's not a death sentence. Well, that's what she thought. She and her son had recovered, and she was just thrilled to death because a lot of people are still dying. And she just went out there, her and her son got in the driveway with the chalk. Oh yeah, there's survivors. But lo and behold, okay, she went and got T-shirts, said COVID survivor. Okay, anticipating that the neighbors on her cul-de-sac in Cape May Courthouse might have some lingering discomfort. She would never thought that. Cape May Courthouse is a tiny little place, in southern New Jersey, Cape May County, about 8-10 miles north of Wildwood, New Jersey, okay, where the beaches are. So Cape May Courthouse is a cute little town, okay, and you would never expect that people will still have, discomfort. These people survived COVID. They survived COVID. And then lo and behold, she gets out and she finds out that she had drastically underestimated the anxiety that her and her son Marcus would end up encountering. Now, even a month into their recovery, some neighbors still see them and run. Okay. And it's those who've been stricken with the virus are emerged from the hospitals or their home quarantine, and they're being forced to navigate in a world that is clearly they're not really welcome yet. Okay. Because everybody else is still doing the shelter in place routine. These COVID survivors are not welcome anywhere near the way they thought they would be. Okay, there are still many unanswered questions about the efficacy and duration of any post-virus immunity, and the uncertainty has caused some people who have survived illness to be really confront a real fear-driven stigma in the outside world. Now, a veterinarian, okay, who should actually know better, he refused to treat a recovered woman's dog. Okay, he refused to treat the dog because the woman had recovered from COVID. A laundromat worker who jumped up seeing an elected official whose illness had been reported on the local news. A gardener would not trim the hedges outside of a recovered man's house. A neighbor who dropped off soup said, "Don't bother returning the Tupperware," okay? And a sick teenager whose only solace during his long illness was the thought that he can go fishing with his friends again, only to have them ghost him when he actually recovered. My gut thought was not, "Oh, the people will now be afraid of me because I had a virus," said Ms. Martucci. Okay. When she described, just her neighbors just running from her as soon as they saw her at the door. Okay. Her and her son were on their bicycles. They took off. It never occurred to her, okay, that a real estate investor, that's what she does, okay, and you're looked at as a contagion versus a survivor. Okay. She's had to put the shirts away. Her COVID survivor t-shirts, she had to put them away. Okay. Feeling stigmatized is not what many survivors said they expected after a really tough bout with the illness. It carries a particular string given the worldwide discussions about, reopening society. Okay. These people, very few people who end up having COVID have no problems after the fact. For most people, it was a serious encounter. Okay. If they missed the ventilator, they were thrilled to death. Some of these people, though, okay, still have lingering problems. Their health is still at risk, but not from the COVID. And they come out and they're expecting, a welcome. They got a welcome when they beat COVID and they left the hospital. Most hospitals are thrilled to see somebody walking out or they're wheeled out in a wheelchair. And they're playing music and they're ringing bells and all sorts of great things. But once they get home, things are a whole lot different for these folks. Now, it's okay for them to go and donate plasma, okay, for experimental treatments that are, for those that are sick. But there's a real dichotomy here between, feeling like you can give your plasma and help save somebody else's life, but then feeling that you're untouchable. And it was Shirley Kraft, a health journalist in Fairfield, Connecticut. Okay. She'd written about surviving COVID and how it affected her physical and mental health. "We're like the chosen ones," she said. "We can go back into society and we can donate plasma, and we're very valuable. But the people who are afraid of catching it, we're like pariahs." Now, Mark Levine, New York City Council member who leads a healthcare committee, okay, he experienced symptoms of virus in late March. He quarantined himself just to make sure there was no problem. He recovered from the illness, and it was covered by the local media. Okay. Weeks later, after he'd recovered, Mr. Levine, who represents Upper Manhattan, said he was stunned when a worker at a local laundromat jumped up at the sight of him. There are people who really think that you got it and essentially you have some type of magical armor and can never get sick again. And that's dangerous, but clearly there are people who just don't understand that you're no longer contagious if you've already recovered. It feels like we've failed on the education on both sides of that. Now, on Long Island, woman in Flora, Flora Topolis, she's 60. She experienced pretty much the same thing. She had kindness from her neighbor, but also caution. Okay. After a burial case, okay, a brutal case with the virus left her with bilateral pneumonia and blood clots in her legs. Okay. She was warmed, okay, with homemade chicken soup from one of the neighbors in Lyndhurst. She dropped it off, and after she tested negative, but when she texted her neighbor about returning the soup container, okay, Flora said that her neighbor told her, just throw it away. So did her sister-in-law, who dropped off some lentil soup. Okay, she left it outside on Flora's porch and said, oh my God, I feel like I'm a leper. I was hoping that people would, eat at my house again on Christmas. She has an annual Christmas thing. Everybody shows up at Christmas. And she's concerned about that now because it makes you feel really ashamed. During the 21 days when he was in isolation in his bedroom in Lakewood, Florida, William Long, 17, said the one thing that kept his spirits up was the idea of going fishing with his friends once he was better. That was my number one thought, he said. I can't wait to get back and hang out with, all my friends. But then 2 weeks after he recovered, he said his friends hadn't even bothered to return his text messages. The loneliness and feeling being ostracized, okay, had, prompted him to enroll in mental health counseling and to seek out new friends. I was 3 weeks into isolation and then to see nobody. It's really heartbreaking, okay? And survivors just don't understand what's happening. There's an amazing amount of anxiety. And after they went through and lived through COVID, they come out and they're treated like lepers still, okay? And they know people are still concerned, but this is a lot of stress for these people for no particular reason now. Now, people need to be afraid of the virus because you want to keep the numbers down. That's what Flora said. But it's still really hurtful. Samantha Hoffberg, okay, who lives in Manhattan, she understood that why her family had stayed away from her when her nearly 2 months that she had before she recovered. Her father died of the virus in April, and after contracting it in the hospital where he was admitted, okay, because of complications from dementia. And she said the idea was really, really traumatic. Okay, after she became infected, she continued to stay away from the rest of the family and her loved ones just out of respect. After she recovered then on April 23rd, there was a fire in a building. After being hospitalized for smoke inhalation, she had a series of panic attacks. A social worker at the hospital called Hoffberg's family to tell them that she was virus-free and she wanted to see them. They refused. I've never been in such a dark state in my life, okay? And my own family is scared that they don't want to even be able to see me, okay? And she still craved a hug, okay? It's the physical contact that you don't have that you're missing. And this is really having a big effect on people that have already recovered. This is what you want. You want people being recovered. These are the people that you want to go back to work with, thinking that you've got a certain amount of immunity now. Yes, it's uncertain as to how much, but we'll see. But these people are being treated as lepers. Now, this is the third group of people now. You have the people that were sick, the people that are denying the whole thing exists, and then the people that are recovered. The people that are recovered, okay, they're having a hard time right now. Much harder than you would ever really expect. So here we are in the middle of week number 3 in May. And this is a good 11 weeks into this by the president's count, even though this started back in January. The weather's really breaking across the country. It's full spring mode in most places, and people are eyeing up their summers. A few of the courts have already thrown out the extended stay-at-home orders, and people are really itching to get out of the house and back to work if work is still actually available. Everyone is reopening in some way, shape, or form, okay? And that's a good thing. However, okay, what we do moving forward has yet to be determined. there will be more deaths. Okay, it's just part of the thing. Okay, it was a real big deal when more people died of COVID in just a few months, 52,000 at the time, than died in 15 years of the Vietnam War. That was a real big deal at the time. And now the CDC is making projections that we'll have 100,000 dead before just the end of this month, just 11 days from now. Now, the economy got blasted in just so many ways. It's actually unbelievable how many ways the economy got hurt. Okay, unemployment right now is close to depression era numbers. The stock market is still bouncing around between 23 and 25,000. It hasn't taken any real direction yet. Okay, it may have bottomed in this area. We don't know yet, but we'll see. However, the recovery for big business and the market is going to be totally divorced from what's happened on Main Street. And if you're on Main Street, you understand that already. Many furloughed workers, okay, are not going to get rehired as more businesses close and continue to go bankrupt before the end of the year. They'll be doing that in record numbers. 5 months ago, people were seriously thinking about their retirement. They knew they didn't have enough money then. That point just got seriously reinforced at this point in time. And now they're thinking, yeah, I'll be working until the day I die. However, from adversity always comes an opportunity to start anew. So it might not be too late for you. Okay. With a solid plan B, you get to control your financial future, okay, your situation, as well as your life. If you'd like the chance to be able to retire somewhere in the next 3 to 5 years and never need to worry about money again, okay, go to my website, drrousenow.com. There's a 12-minute video there that explains what I do. Take a peek at that. Okay, see what you think. See if that might not work for you. If you think it might, okay, I'll be glad to schedule a call and to see if we can move forward together. Okay, I don't let everybody into the program. Again, I'm retired. Okay, I want to help, but I can only do so much myself. And not everybody really qualifies. But go there, take a peek at the video, see if it's of interest to you. If I can help, schedule a call, and we'll see if we fit together. Again, I'm Dr. Fred Rouse, the Real Money Doctor. My only goal here is to help you get, protect, and enjoy your money, your life, and your retirement. So I appreciate you being here with me tonight, spending some time with me. I'll post this video tomorrow on my YouTube channel, The Real Money Doctor. And again, I always have a little something. There's a link there that goes to a page, and there's always something generally light that I like to be able to post there. And I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow around this time. Thank you.